Hi everybody, it's Saltash Maths Tutor and we are going to be covering indices or powers. So hold on tight everybody, because I'm going to give you a few rules and I'm going to give you some ideas that I commonly see as tripping up bits, and this is all relevant to foundation and higher. This is a basic skill that we need. So this is a common question, or similar style of question. What's y plus y plus y? Well, here is one way of looking at it. Well, what's a pen plus a pen plus a pen? If I had 3 pens in my hand, I must have, well, I've sort of said it, haven't I? I've given it away. I've got 3 pens. So let's not get too het up on the whole y thing. Why don't just make it something we understand? Make the y's as an idea into pens, and then I've got, well, the answer to the top thing must be 3y. Makes sense all of a sudden, doesn't it? On to the next one, and I'm going to give you an idea here, because any of these you can see in an exam. And here's an idea. Well, all that happened was, mathematically, a trillion zillion years ago, it got really boring to be writing. In fact, I'll write the next one in this little sort of table that's been created, which is x times x times x times. I'm getting bored. X times x, and rather than that, write it out all the time. Some clever person thought, well, hang on, if I just put some. We'll make a table basically, and I have some columns, column here. Then start writing this out all the time, I can come up with a sort of a code, and the code was that it would be x, because x is being multiplied over and over again here. And what column is it in? Well, it's in the 5th column, and that's where we get things like x squared, x cubed, and x to the power of 4, which is in fact, we've got x's here, and they're in the 2nd column, so that's x squared. Badly drawn squared, sorry. And then the next one, 3x's, x is in the 3rd column, so we've got x cubed. And it goes on and on like that. And now I've rubbed out the wrong thing. Stick with me, everybody. But you can see that remembering this sort of table thing, or remembering the pens, makes the multiplication or adding of things a little bit easier. But let's move on to indices. So I've borrowed the table from the previous slide, and I have to say change to a blackboard because the orange was burning my eyeballs out. And I'm now going to ask myself this question here. What is x squared times x to the cubed? Well, here we go, because we sort of already know the answer. If I pick another colour and make that the x squared, that's rubbish. Let's write it underneath, so x squared. Where have I seen x squared before? Well, I have seen it here, x times x. Then I've got a multiply here, a multiply here. Well, there just happens to be a multiply here as well. And then, what should we have? Let's have this colour. Then we've got x cubed. I've done it in the wrong place again. Then we've got x cubed. That's a rubbish colour. Let's put this x cubed. Well, that's x times x times x. In other words, this bit is here, and this bit is here. But can you see that actually, if I write this out completely in full, well, it's this bit here. And we know that that is from the previous table, and this that I've copied forward, that's x to the power of 5. In other words, what that means is, with something like x squared times x cubed, this times thing, and it's quite often the case with indices, what you first see is not what you get. And in fact, it's telling us to add the powers, all the indices together. So I get x to the 2 plus 5, which equals not 5, x to the 3, which equals x to the power of 5, which is what we've got here. So on to another rule, x to the power of 5 divided by x to the power of 2, or x squared. Now I could write that as x to the 5 over x to the 2. Now, and if I write it out in full, I get that. And I wasn't going to bore you by letting you sit here while I drew that out, but here we go. And now I can do the cancelling down thing. Cancel an x in the top, x in the bottom, x in the top, x in the bottom. And what am I left with? Well, I'm left with x to the power of 3. Now again, is there anything that helps us with this to remind us about how we can do it? Because this would appear to be x to the 5 minus 2, because that equals x to the 3. Well, the way to remember it is that we have got, remember I said in the last one, what you first see is not what you got. There is a line there, isn't it? It's used as divide, but actually it's not divide, it is the minus, and that's one of the ways to remember it. Okay, and another one. Now I've got a way of remembering this, and it's simply like this. I'm just going to quickly recolour these things for you. And I believe that we sort of tilt the page and everything slides down into the corner, and when it gets there it's rearranged itself and it becomes 1 over the x. Now this is called sometimes a negative index, or the reciprocal, or it's inverted, but basically what happens is this. Let's just get rid of these. I'm going to write it out again. Whatever I've got to the power of minus 1 means that I just put 1 over the thing itself. And I can do this with numbers as well. So if I had 6 to the minus 1, that would be 1 over 6. Now if I've got something like a third to the minus 1, then what I do is I, just a bit like here I put the 6 and I put that on the bottom of the number 1. Here I flip it the other way, so that equals 3. A quarter to the minus 1 equals 4. I flip the 4 up to the top. So just a recap of those rules, if I had something like x to the 4 times x to the 6, that becomes x to the 4, and then I look at this symbol here, but know that it's multiply, that's not what I get, it's something different, plus 6, so it becomes x to the 10. I then going to have, let's have t to the 4 divided by t squared. Well, that equals t to the 4, because I can rewrite it like that. And I'm looking at this symbol here, which now isn't a divide but becomes, well, it becomes a minus, so I get t to the 4 minus 2, so that's t squared. And then I've got this reciprocal thing. So if I have h to the minus 1, that becomes 1 over h. And if I in fact have a fraction like 1 over 4 to the minus 1, then I flip this up here and that just becomes 4. And those are some of the basic, well, they are the first 3 of the basic indices procedures that you need. This has been Saltash Math Tutor. I hope that has helped. The next video will go into some more of the indices or powers rules. If you've got any comments, then please post them and I will respond. Thank you very much.